Hi everyone, welcome to North Star Knife Reviews, episode 4 of our Scandinavian knife series. And this is going to be the last sort of modern Scandinavian knife we'll take a look at. Starting with the next episode, we're going to move into the more traditional styles. So if that's what you've been waiting for, you don't have to wait too much longer. This is a knife out of Finland. It is by Marttiini. Marttiini is a fairly large manufacturer compared to a lot of the Scandinavian knife makers. Now, not Mora. I mean, Mora's the giant, but Marttiini is also fairly large, and they produce their own blades and everything, as opposed to some of the other traditional makers that we'll talk about who source their blades from someplace else and then just make the handles for them. Now, Marttiini has, as it says on here, been around since 1928. Jana Marttiini, who is a legend in Finland, started this company in Rovaniemi, which is in Finnish Lapland, which is where the Sami people, who are the originators of the Puukko-style knife, come from. Puukko, simply means knife in Finnish, but this has a little bit different blade than you're typically going to find on a Puukko because this is made for hunting. Although Puukkos can have a number of different styles of blades, this is not as typical. Now, the sort of interesting, Rovaniemi got bombed massively by the Germans during World War II. One of the few commercial buildings left standing in the city was the old Marttiini factory. Now, it was damaged, but it was still standing. Today, that old factory is a museum, and the new factory is a couple of miles away, but still in Rovaniemi. Okay. Now, Marttiini is owned by Rapala. It was a family corporation, wholly owned by the Marttiini family, until 2005. In fall of 2005, the Rapala company, which was also based in Finland, bought Marttiini. And that gave Marttiini a lot more advertising budget and ability to ship more places around the world and made the company that much bigger. Now, I do have one Rapala knife, just quickly, and I have taken a look at this, so we're not going to have this out for very long. But, this fillet knife, one interesting thing that I have learned, and I do have an episode on this that you can go take a look at if you so desire, but one interesting thing I learned is that the fillet knife, Rapala started out as a manufacturer of fishing lures. The fillet knife of this style with the flexible blade was actually invented here in Minnesota for the Rapala company, and was actually the headquarters of the place that invented this is only about 2 miles from my house. So, local connection there, kind of interesting. Anyway, Rapala bought Marttiini, but Marttiini still produces most of the knives, and Marttiini produces the Rapala knives. Rapala produces the fishing lures, things like that. Anyway, let's take a look at this. Well, let's take a look at the sheath first. Not a bad little sheath, leather. This knife runs anywhere from $20 to $30, $35, depending on where you're going to get it. You can usually find it on sale for $20 to $25. And for that price, it comes in a pretty nice sheath. That is one thing that Marttiini really does nicer than Mora, because a lot of the basic Marttiinis are sort of competitors to Mora. They give you a much nicer sheath. Has a dangler on it. See the brass on here, black. So I really like the sheath on this. The knife itself, see, is a Skinner blade used for hunting. It has a partial tang just like the Moras, but it feels pretty solid, and it is thicker than the Moras tend to be. The handle is plastic, has a pretty good grip, and certainly, if you were skinning or something, you should be able to keep a grip on this pretty well, even if you've got all sorts of junk on here. This is just a sticker on the handle. See, here is the blade. It is stainless from Marttiini in Finland. And the blade grind, this is actually a Scandi grind. I know that it looks like it has a micro bevel, but it does not. It's just that the end is not coated, or the very edge of the blade is not coated. This coating is a titanium-based thing that they call Martef. Supposed to be similar to Teflon, hence the name Martef, Marttiini Teflon. Okay. Now, one thing with this being a Scandi grind, when you do eventually have to sharpen it, you're going to have to make a decision. Do you just sharpen the edge and end up putting a micro bevel on it? Or do you sharpen the whole Scandi grind and then take off the coating here? Since this is stainless, it's probably not going to be that big a deal if you take off the coating. The main purpose of it is to reduce friction and binding up when you're, it's supposed to make it slice through things more easily. Let's just say it that way, okay? Now, at present, this is the only Marttiini knife I have, but I do have another one, a traditional, on the way. It's supposed to be here end of the week, maybe beginning of next week as of the date I'm filming this. So again, this is the last of the modern Scandinavian knives. Starting next time, we're going to start taking a look at the traditional styling. We're going to start out with some more classics, then assuming I get this, the other Marttiini knife shortly, we will take a look at that, and then a few by a couple of smaller makers, Ahti and Wood Jewel. And that will take us through the month of January. All in all, I really do like this knife. Pretty nice in hand. And I don't know what the kind of steel this is, but I do know that it is somewhat soft. The Marttiini site doesn't list it. I see some people suggesting that the Rockwell on this is only about 56, which would make it pretty soft, although that would make it certainly easy to sharpen. But I can't tell you for sure. Anyway, hope you liked this. We'll be moving into the more traditional styling next episode. You all have a good day. I will catch you next time.